Let's get it. Welcome to the Dead Son Show. We have meaningful conversations about life through the lens of fatherhood. It's for fathers, those with fathers, and the fatherless, so nobody's left out. These are the conversations I want my sons to access as they grow through life into manhood, so no topics are off limits. I'm the only host today, but we got an amazing guest. We got Quentin Harris in the building. How you feeling, my brother?
Feel good, man.
Welcome to the show.
I appreciate you for having me, brother.
Indeed, man. Indeed, man. We were just talking before we got started and realized that we had actually met. Man. It's been a pivotal part of my journey here in Grand Prairie. I've been here for 7 years now.
Okay.
And as I was saying, my neighbor introduced me to the Brotherhood at Concord.
Yeah.
That helped recreate some foundation that I was lacking in my life. Man.
I got you.
So salute to Concord, man.
Yeah, man, it's a good space, man. It's in the largest one that they had this past season, man, was almost like 500.
I heard.
So it's blowing up. Pastor Aaron Moore going crazy with it, man. So
salute to Aaron Moore, man, and Pastor Carter as well. Aaron Moore, I think I found relatability with him.
Yeah,
we had some conversations.
Yep.
I know everybody's pulling on both of them.
Yeah,
when they have it,
but, for a lot. Yeah,
but it seemed, though it was a lot of brothers there, and that's not a negative. It also seemed grounded.
Yep,
it wasn't like the elite crew of presenters, and then you come and you leave, and there's no real connection.
Yeah,
so that's what kind of wrote me in.
Yeah, they down to earth, man.
Yeah,
you know, it's very seldom you have. They can have a high level conversation if need be.
Yeah,
but they talking to you.
Yeah,
they regular people.
Yeah,
man.
And it's believable, man.
Yeah.
Tell the audience about who you are. Some may have been under a rock. Some may not be familiar with Concord. But how do you present yourself to those that don't know you?
In various different ways, I guess.
We got time.
So from the Concord perspective, man, I'm the young adult director up there. So my group is on paper is 18 to 35, but realistically it's about 23 to maybe 32.
Okay.
So I run the Bible studies. I run the table, which is an event that we have every single month. Our social. So that's kind of my ministry, so to speak. Okay. We're probably about the same size as Brotherhood. It's about maybe 400 or 500 of us that we kind of get together. So
okay. Yeah, I've heard about it. I've edged out.
I got
in a couple of ways, aged out. I'm not single. It's not singles. It's young adult, or is it?
It's young adult, but man, nobody. So one day I was speaking, I was giving a message. I had a reference around marriage inside of my message, right? So I asked who was married.
Yeah,
2 hands went up. 400 some people, 2 hands went
up.
So it's a
pseudo singles.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's a lot of singles. A lot of them with no children.
Okay.
So they young professionals for the most part.
Yeah. My daughter's actually in that range. My oldest son, who just graduated high school, he'll be 18.
Okay.
And excellent time, man. My son called the family meeting.
Word.
Last Saturday.
Okay. What was he frustrated about?
Rest in perspective, and that kind of shapes the conversation.
Yeah.
He was frustrated because children pay attention. I guess that's the first message of the day. Children pay attention.
Yeah.
And he saw his mom and his dad not being who he knew them to be. Right. There's a whole lot of things that are stressing on the family right now.
Yeah.
Financially, spiritually, a lot of other adverbs I can throw in there. But he saw it and he was like, I don't feel like we're who we used to be.
Mm.
And you know, we started out and he had an agenda. So, you know, it's kind of started off with.
You mean like a physical agenda?
On his phone.
He's running through some topics.
On his phone.
Okay.
So when I had to be mindful of my face because I didn't want to like not laugh at, but like, man, you know, even that I wanted to keep it serious.
Yeah.
And when he said, let me go to my next point. And then everybody caught it that, he's
playing this out.
Yeah. He's not talking about, can I go do something for the summer? He's like, hey, family, we kind of, you know, we drifting a little bit. Let's get back on track. All that to say, regular spiritual activity was part of that conversation.
Mm.
So it was necessary, but it was refreshing in the sense that that was part of their foundation that they feel is a weakness now, though I'm not proud of that. I am happy that they realize that they need that, that grounding individually and need it as a family. So it'll be good. They'll be excited to kind of, to hear that that's an option. And actually my oldest daughters, they're 21 and 19. The Sunday before this one, they went on their own.
Oh, wow.
I was actually outside working in the yard and they came out like, hey, Deuces.
That's what's up, man.
So okay.
That's what's up.
Okay. So yeah, but I kind of jumped in. So we got the spiritual calling you, but who are you the person? And if they're the same, I'm not trying to.
Well, I mean, it's been so long, it's intertwined now.
Okay.
Right? I'm originally from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. No.
On par.
Yeah.
Most people that I run into.
Yeah.
From Lafayette, from New Orleans. He's from what's on 20? The first thing you get to on 20.
Shreveport?
Shreveport.
Yeah, Shreveport, Bossier. Yeah. I was raised in a tough place, man. My mom and dad weren't together.
Okay.
But I saw my dad a lot.
Gotcha.
Right? So a lot of you find that people found inspiration from coaches, and I had a dad, man.
Right.
I would go to practice and hear things, coaches talk about things. I've been hearing that for years now, right. So I had a good foundation. They were tough on me because of where I grew up. Sure. I grew up in a place called South Baton Rouge. They call it the Baton. Yeah. Okay. So we played on the same AAU teams, went to middle school together. My dad actually taught him in high school.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, he probably don't care nothing about me now, right? He too big. He might even remember me now. But we had some of a small relationship back then. But man, it was a tough place to come out of. So they had a stranglehold on me to make sure I got out, right? But man, my foundation was solid by the time I got to college. And I think when I was like 19 years old, I couldn't stand my mama, right?
Really?
She was just hard, bro. I mean, hard. Looking back, she was doing the right thing, right? That was part of the reason I left. I went to Grambling for college. That's part of the reason I left Baton Rouge is because I got to get away from here.
My co-host see this. He's a Southern guy.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't understand it, but they always be talking trash.
Tell him we all make mistakes. That's all good.
Jake Black, he on you.
But yeah, man, I went to the G and I started seeing what my parents had been trying to save me from for 18 years. Yeah. I saw people move different, vibe different, right? You asked me about the separation of who I am. I ain't care nothing about Jesus growing up.
Gotcha.
Because I wasn't a bad, quote unquote, person in my eyes.
Was it presented to you?
Yeah, multiple times. I just didn't see a need for it, right? I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't really handle anybody bad. I've never really been wired that way to just be a bad dude. I was aggressive and I had a temper about that long, right? If you did something to me, you're going to pay for it, right? So I really didn't have a need for Christ, bro. So there was I guess at some point there was a separation between who I am as a godly man versus who I was just kind of independent on my own.
Well, how did you avoid the drinking and smoking vices? Because my life was kind of the opposite, and I picked those up early.
My dad, bro.
Yeah.
So we did a lot together.
Okay.
Right. We would go eat. We would go to games. We would do a lot of stuff together. And I remember him riding me around. Like I tell you, it comes from a rough place. So it was all around me. Yeah. We would ride around. He would just point out, like, you see this dude right here? He's wasted his life. That's not what you want to be like. You don't want to be out here standing on the corner, drinking and smoking. That's not the life that you want, right? He made a statement to me one day. He said, you like doing stuff? I said, doing stuff like what? Like just stuff. You like the stuff that we do? You like going to all these restaurants? Yeah. You like going to games? Yeah. There's something called Celebration Station. I don't know if you remember that.
I'm not from there. Is it a Louisiana thing?
No, it's in Texas. It's one in Mesquite.
Okay.
It might be shut down now, but it's like a little play thing for kids.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I said, yeah, I love all of that. He said, well, I found out you drinking and smoking. All that's done. Now, if that's worth it to you, hey, have at it.
Right.
If you want to go hang with these boys and not be done for the rest of your life, do your thing, right? I'm not going to stop you. I mean, at the time, he probably was trying to stop me.
Yeah.
But I thought about it. Like, is drinking and smoking worth giving up all of this?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm good, right? And they talked to me early about peer pressure too. I think one of the mistakes, I talked to a lot of my friends about this. One of the mistakes I think people make as parents, they're reactive. My parents were very proactive.
Yeah.
So I was prepared for a lot before I ever saw it, right? So I can remember in elementary school, them talking to me about not following up behind anybody. you have your own mind. My dads tell me all the time, God has given everybody their own brain. Don't let anybody use your brain for you. If you do something dumb, it need to be because you were stupid, not because somebody influenced you to do something wrong, right? So, and then he told me they're going to call you punk and scary and use all of that. So when it happened, I was already ready for it, you know? So they talked me out of it before I was even at the age where drinking and smoking was even a thing.
But that's an interesting thread to pull, because part of what has driven this podcast was, you know, me and my father didn't have conversations in a timely fashion.
Okay.
Like Jesus specifically was at the forefront. Religion specifically was at the forefront. About sex, not so much.
Okay.
About drinking, not so much. It was don't do it because it's a sin, but that was kind of the extent of it. How far did those conversations go beyond the peer pressure and the drinking and the drugs? Because I'm trying to, I'm kind of going down a path of how it shaped your life early on and what's
So when you say how far down did it go, what do you mean?
Like topic wise, did you have the conversations about sex and responsibility and things like that? Because a lot of my friends, a lot of men that sit, you know, across from me on this show, that's one of the things that's lacking.
Yeah. Nah, nothing was off limits, man.
Okay.
Nothing was off limits. I remember, and before we had the conversation, I kind of already knew. I remember the day we finally talked about it. I don't know how old I was, but Magic Johnson had just got AIDS, right? So I asked him like how babies were born or something like that. So like the story of the birds and the bees, I never even heard that story. I don't even know, right?
That's not even logical.
Yeah. He said, well, how do you think? I said, how Magic Johnson got AIDS? He said, exactly. So we were driving. Well, he was driving.
Yeah.
We got to his job. He sat down, pulled out a sheet of paper, and it just explained it to me, like right there.
Wow.
I had to be 7 or 8.
Yeah.
I was young. And I mean, it didn't stop there. He wanted to tell me about how I'm going to find women attractive, but you got to make sure that you're not getting them pregnant, because you getting them pregnant or ruin your life early. And I mean, nothing was off limits, man. Anything I wanted to know, he would tell me. He's told me before, anything you need to know, come ask me.
Right.
Your friends are too stupid to know. They your age. How smart can they be, right? Come ask me anything you want to know. And if I don't know, I'll go find the answer for you.
Yeah.
So that was kind of our relationship, man. Anything that I was curious about, I just take it to him. And he had an answer for me.
Is he still alive today?
Nah, he died like 6 years ago.
Okay. So you had him through adulthood to a degree?
No.
How old are you?
I'm 40.
Okay.
So let me clarify that answer. When I got to college, our relationship shifted.
I was literally going there next.
Yeah, it shifted. My pops was a real aggressive dude. I mean, probably one of the most aggressive people. He was Mike Tyson aggressive.
Oh, okay.
Right? But the difference between he and Mike, he was bigger than Mike. My dad was like 6'3", maybe like 260, 270, solid muscle, right? He was very intellectual. So he was All-American in college, but he was also like president of student councils. Like he was that guy. So you couldn't tell him much. Yeah. And he came from an era where civil rights was kind of still rolling. Yeah. So he had in Deep South, right? So he had a chip on his shoulder. So when I got saved, man, and I was like that coming up, but when I got saved, Jesus started softening my heart. And I realized this dude who was a great father was a horrible person, right? Socially, or I guess like the way society would look at a man, successful, money, good looking, right? He presented well, but his character was horrible. So we started veering, right? The better I became and the closer I got to God, the more irritated I became by who he was. So we didn't see eye to eye for a long time.
Were there ever conversations about the change?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he I don't think he fully understood my intellect as a man. I think he still saw me as a boy, right? So when we would talk about things, I don't think he took my perspective as a valid concern. I think he kind of felt like this little boy, his emotions, not knowing you created me to be very logical.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking out of my feelings. I'm talking out of fact.
Yeah.
So we just didn't see eye to eye.
First semester in college, I did nothing.
Okay.
I only went 20 miles from my house. So I raised in Hampton, Newport News, Virginia, 757 area. Allen Iverson, Mike Vick, those are probably the most notable names that came out of the area.
Gotcha.
I went to school just across the bridge.
Okay.
20 miles away. And lost my mind.
Yeah.
Like literally, well, I mean, I didn't, not lost my mind in the sense of getting in trouble, but I had a freedom that I never had.
Never had before. You ain't going to class. You already know.
Class.
Yeah.
I took chemistry in high school.
Yeah.
Why am I taking it again? I literally thought like that. And the funny thing was, I did well in high school, and my father suggested that I pursue a career based on how I did in high school, which was logical. So anything math and science, I thought I was a whiz. But college presents different than high school.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think I had a 0.14 GPA at the end of it. So I left high school and I
went 0.14 or 1.4.
No.
A point.
I mean, you didn't have to highlight it for effect.
I just was making sure I heard you right.
Yeah. I think I had a C minus. Everything else was F and I's. I didn't even know what I's were.
Wow.
Incomplete.
Wow.
Incomplete, inconsistent.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you was living.
Idle, whatever I you want to associate with, all of those things. So I left, took myself out of college. I was trying to play my dad to like hype me up.
Okay.
Like, man, this is, it's tough. It's not for me. He was like, oh, you're right. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I go. So I had to go into the workforce, and all that to say I got out of the house early. I left the house at 19.
Okay.
And we were already on a path of me not wanting information from him. Now I'm out in the world, kind of fending for my own life. My parents never like let me drown or anything like that.
I got you.
But
I got you.
At 18, in which I try to impress my children now, you're able to create situations. Your parents may be able to get you out of them, but you living how you live creates a situation for you and or this family. So the impact is much greater than it was or what you expected, what you knew in high school.
Yeah.
So I just started living, and there were things that I would run into, financial, women, all of these things where I could have used the experience from my father.
Yeah.
I decided to go get the experience. How did you fare as a man going into the world? You kind of going in different paths from your father, the guy that was your guy growing up.
Yeah.
Like what kind of bumps and bruises, if any?
So how deep I want to get with that? One of the things that he gave me,
I control the edits. So even if there's an afterthought.
I got you. Yeah. I got you. No, that's all good. One of the things that he gave me was, you're too stupid to know everything. Don't ever believe you got it all figured out.
Okay.
Right? People that love you, that are older than you, that are wiser than you should always listen. You might not always understand, but ask questions and listen.
Yeah.
Right? But hands down, the best advice he's probably ever given me. So because of that, he created a situation where I didn't need him, right? He made me a thinker.
Yeah.
So whether I have you or not, you've taught me how to fish. So I don't have to come to you to be fed. So man, when I was in college, when I saw people that were doing well or people that I thought was heading in the right direction, even if it was students, I would just ask questions about how to do this, how to do that. So I've never necessarily had a quote unquote mentor, but I've asked so many questions to so many different people. I've been able to get everything I needed, regardless if I had him there or not. Right. So it didn't necessarily affect me maybe as much as it may affect other people when their dad is removed.
Yeah.
Because he taught me how to live without him, you know? So, and it's been ingrained in me since I was a kid.
How did it, when and where did you meet your wife?
She's from Baton Rouge too.
Okay.
That's an interesting story. So her grandmother in Baton Rouge, you would have like we didn't go to daycares as a kid. It would be the old grandmother in the neighborhood. Yeah, somebody's house, right? So my mom and her mom grew up together. Her grandmother kept us as children. Her grandmother lived like maybe 5 minutes from my mom's job. So we were around each other then. Well, fast forward 20 years or whatever, her grandmother died. And a lot of the kids that she had kept went back for the funeral. And we ran into each other.
Yes.
We ran into each other there. And my mom was playing. She told me, you should see Charity. Oh, she's so beautiful now. I don't even remember this girl, right? And at the time,
he didn't remember.
I didn't. Honest to God, I didn't remember who she was. And at the time, I'm, you know what I mean? I don't even
out
care.
Here.
Hey, I don't care,
yeah.
right?
Destination out here.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was cool. And she was a beautiful woman, bro. But it was like, okay, right? I didn't think twice. And man, my mom wanted giving her my number. And we just started chopping it up. She was in Baton Rouge. I still was at the G. But when I come home, I go see her. Or she come up and come see me. And man, just over time, we just got closer, right? And then eventually wound up being together.
How long you been married?
15 years this year.
How did you learn to be a husband?
By doing stupid stuff, right? I didn't have an example of husband, nor did I care to ask the questions about being a husband. I didn't really understand. How do I say this? I was extremely, let me not say it that way. I did a good job of figuring out things on the fly, right? It's a gift that God has kind of given me. Once I'm in it, I can logically reason how to put this puzzle together, right? And the things that I can't, I ask. This wasn't something I thought that I needed to figure out.
Yeah.
I'm a good person. I love God. She a good person. She love God. We love each other. Easy work.
That's enough.
Easy work, right? And then I realized I'm in over my head.
Yeah.
Right?
You say outkick the coverage.
So yeah, I definitely outkick my coverage. To Devin Hester at that, right? So man, I remember before I got married, I asked my uncle. I had an uncle who was real instrumental in my life too. He passed away like 10 years ago. I called him one day. I said, hey man, let me ask you a question. You know, I'm getting married. Like, what advice can you give me just about being a husband in marriage?
Yeah.
He laughed at me. Now I've called this dude 100 times. Asked him before I bought my first house. I called him. I've called him about school, jobs that I was thinking about taking. And he's always had an answer. I called him, asked about marriage. He laughed. I said, what's funny? He said, you seen The Matrix before? I said, yeah, I've seen The Matrix. Marriage like that. Nobody can tell you what marriage is. You got to see it for yourself. I was like, it's not helpful. Not helpful. But as I got in, you know, and he told me my wife might not be your wife. Your wife may love mornings. My wife may hate mornings. So I can give you advice, but that woman ain't going to be every woman. Man, it was a journey.
Yeah.
I did a lot of dumb junk, right? Again, I told you I was real aggressive. I was real direct. And then when I got saved, I wanted to be extra honest now, right? So I thought it's a good idea to tell your wife the truth about the way that she feels. And that's dumb, just dumb, right? I didn't know about massaging and not being logical and listening to how she feels and accepting the way she feels, no matter how off the wall that they are, right? She would tell me something. What? That's dumb. That's stupid, right? So it was things.
Early on. This is not you now.
Oh, no.
Clarify everything.
Yeah, this early on, bro. This early on. So that's how I got to be where I am now. It wasn't through reading. It wasn't through questions. It was just doing dumb junk.
Yeah.
We had I'll tell you, my daughter's 9. We had 2 miscarriages before we had my first daughter. We had our first one. She was distraught. Okay. I said, I'm just giving you an example of the type of stupid stuff I was doing.
You might not be able to outdo me, but go ahead.
She was just like almost in tears. I said, what is wrong with you?
Outdid
me.
Yeah.
She said, like, we just lost a baby. I said, we can have another one. Like, it's okay. So I was just not attached emotionally. It was all black and white. It was all logic, right? So I made a lot of stupid mistakes, bro. So it's just
logical to a fault.
Yeah.
That was me. I'm still undoing some of it.
Okay. Me too.
I'm still undoing some of it.
I created some trauma along the way, man.
Yeah. I often wonder why I still have my wife.
Yeah.
Just from stupidity.
I'd have left me a long time ago, brother. Yeah. Yeah.
Why did you choose me again? Are you sure? But it was it's the contrast between our stories is that you didn't have a reference to mimic. I had a reference and mimicked it, and it didn't work. Either way, it didn't work.
Oh, wow.
Because when you were talking about your uncle was saying, I can tell you about my situation. That's not your
situation. Yeah. You're trying to do it work for your mama, but it ain't work for your wife. Yeah, I got you.
They are not the same. Never. And praise God.
Yeah.
That would be weird. What has marriage taught you about you? And you have a son now, right?
Yeah.
As well. Yeah. What has marriage taught you about you?
Marriage has shown me that I lack compassion. Because I don't care about my feelings. Right? It's you got either you get it done or you don't, right? Even if you feel a certain way, you still have to do this.
Do the thing.
And that's how it is for us as men most of the time, right? So I didn't realize that I really don't have much compassion at times. I have love.
Yeah.
But I don't take time to, and I'm doing better now, right? But I didn't take time to understand how you feel and then process the problem. It was problem, solution, right?
Same day if you can.
Yeah.
If possible.
So that was the biggest thing I think I've grabbed. And, growing up, I can't recall too many times my people just hugging me and telling me that they love me, right? They showed it, for sure.
Yeah.
It was, when I did great, they celebrated me. When I was out of line, they pulled me back in. They took care of me. They gave me the game. So I know it was love. But just me to just go sit up underneath my mom at 14 and I didn't have that, right? So I don't think I had a lot of compassion in my life growing up. It was just result-based. So when I got married, it exposed a lot of that. Before that, it didn't matter, right? But yeah, she showed me how insensitive I could be while loving. And that's what was ironic. I think early on, my insensitivity was lumped in with he probably doesn't care. And that's not true, right? But I guess the way I move was an anomaly because most people who are insensitive don't care.
Yeah.
I did care a lot.
Yeah.
I just didn't understand how to move. So that's probably been my biggest.
But between the miscarriage and the successful pregnancy, what changed with you between those two events?
Nothing.
Or you were still that person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't so it's very easy to stop certain behaviors and not be changed.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Yeah. So I realized don't do that or don't say that particular thing but who I was hadn't evolved.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't present in a way, but you're still
correct.
In a way.
It wasn't until my daughter got here that my life completely shifted. I guess because I'm looking at my wife, you're an adult, right? You're an adult. Like, I'm talking to you like an adult. But mind you, I played for teams in high school that was ranked nationally. We won, I don't know how many state championships. My AAU team been to nationals. And even when I went to the G, my freshman year when I played, I got a ring after my freshman year. I still had this ring. It says 3-time back-to-back Black national champions, right? So like every sports team I've played on has been successful. Yeah. So coaches are very direct, right? Because it's all about the result, right? So I can, at times when I'm talking to my wife, it was not, and I don't curse, I don't yell either, right? So it's not like I'm screaming and hollering at her. I'm talking to her just like I'm talking to you right now. And then when she gets upset, it's like, hey, I'm not yelling at you. Don't. Now that made her even more upset, right? So it was a perfect storm. But when my daughter was born, I said something to her one day, just like this, and she started crying. She was like maybe 2. And then my wife says, you're not getting it, but she's also a woman, and you can't talk to her like that.
Yeah.
Then it hit me. All the stuff she been trying to tell me for the past 5 years, it clicked.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I gotta adjust a little. So between the pregnancies and the birth, I don't think I adjusted much, but once my little girl got here, I was like, okay, now I understand.
Yeah, I again, today, it's a very conscious decision to manage how I say what I say.
Yeah.
Because I would say I was more aware than, as your story is coming across, I was more aware of the potential outcome in how I used it. You were who you were, right?
Yeah.
This is how I talk to people. I'm talking to you like an adult. But I think I was more aware of, this is probably going to trigger something, or this is probably going to push a button.
Yeah.
I would still say the thing that wasn't disrespectful in words, but in my presentation. And again, it's not yelling, screaming, cussing. Like, I never saw that growing up.
Yeah.
Cussing,
I got you. I feel you.
I pray my strength in the Lord. But yelling, I never saw my dad yell at my mom. So it was always weird when I saw women yelling, period, let alone a man yelling at a woman, but your words can cut.
Yeah.
So I know I can say a thing and then maybe my facial expression gives sarcasm. But if you ever want to replay the tape, this is what I said.
Yeah.
And I had to kind of get over me using words a certain way, or using, the presentation a certain way, because it's a gift and a curse.
My presentation was trash too, bro.
Gift and a curse.
You seen the episode of you a Cosby Show fan?
Absolutely.
You remember the episode where Dabney's came?
Dabney's Bricky.
And
How Ugly Is the Boy?
Yeah. No, that was How Ugly Is the Boy was Denise's first How Ugly Is He? That was Denise's first.
Oh, you're right.
Dabney's was when he asked him what he liked to eat. He told me he wanted a steak, and he said onions and all of that. And he said, what if I went and got the trash can and flipped it over, put all that on there and gave it to you, right? You still want it? He said, no, not as appetizing anymore, right? Yeah. That was me, man. I'm serving up the perfect meal, but I'm putting it on a trash can. And I didn't realize that's what I was doing, because all I'm thinking about is the meal.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about how it's served, right? So, and I'm still working, man. I don't want you to think I got it figured out.
I've lived long enough to know that if you got it figured out, I probably don't want to talk to you.
Yeah. So it's still a work for me. But now, instead of getting my first thought, she get my third one.
Process and reprocess.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes that third one is still not good enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So one day I remember talking to her one day, and she got offended by something I said. And I said, you realize, so I told her, you realize that's my third one. She said, I hate to hear your first one. Then I told her what my first one was. And she like, good God almighty.
Yeah. That probably didn't help either.
It didn't. It didn't. But I did that to show her it still might not be right, but I'm trying.
Yeah.
Right? I'm trying to get to the place where versus me getting my thought off, I'm trying to get to the place where you could actually hear what I'm saying. So
that's important.
Yeah.
That's important because I was more concerned with being on record saying the thing than her actually being able to hear and understand.
Yeah.
And let's have a dialogue after it. Because honestly, early on, I wasn't concerned about the dialogue. I'm an arguer by profession.
Okay.
Because I was in contracts and you're arguing.
Everything negotiation.
You're arguing a thing or a position. And that was another thing I had to realize, which is a great question for you because of your background in sports. Like how long did it take you to understand that you can't be that at home or it doesn't work at home?
What's today?
So what time do we start?
Yeah. So let me flip your question a little bit.
That's it.
One of my frustrations. So I worked in corporate America for a while, right?
20-some years.
And I got to show up and be a certain way, right? So then in my mind, I should be able to walk in this house and just be me. Cause I got to button up all day.
Okay.
Right? Can I not just come and just be me with the understanding of, I love you, I care about you, I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm just communicating my thoughts, right? So I lived in that for a while until I realized the trash can, right? So it's I don't know if I've completely gotten it still.
Yeah.
I think I'm still trying to figure out that I got to show up. I can't show up to be me. I got to show up for her.
That's so different than where I thought we were going to be the same. Because my corporate career, I advanced pretty quickly.
Yeah. So did I.
And I got to what was the top of the ladder for my organization.
Yeah.
Right. So CEO talk. Not that was me, but that's who I was reporting to, somebody in the C-suite. And those were the conversations that I had to have. And great lesson on how to talk up, down, and across. I think I do that well.
Yeah.
But for me, having to be on all day, I didn't turn it off. Luckily, and you can evaluate this however you want in your mind, whoever's listening, I was never yelling, screaming as a leader.
Yeah.
I was very logical, but very demanding, and this is my expectation of you.
Yeah.
I carried it in my house. So being a VP in corporate has its challenges and it has its it's good parts too.
Yeah.
The perks
is
the word I was looking for. But talking to my wife as if I'm the VP of the corporation of home.
Yeah. Don't go over well.
It didn't go over well.
Yeah.
And again, it's not yet, and I'm being intentional about the words because one may think that even if your tone is right, the messaging is right.
Yeah. What's the problem? Yeah. I'm not yelling.
I have an expectation of you to meet a deadline. It works down at work.
Yeah.
At home, either works across or you trying to work up. Depending on how your house is set up.
Yeah.
But that was my issue. And then corporate was removed from me. And I realized the day-to-day that she was dealing with, the wake up and have 5 algorithms in the house and the emotional requirement, the toll that it takes there.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, yeah. So it wasn't just you just did this all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's never a good conversation.
Yeah.
All you had to do was, and like when you're talking about your child being born, my ignorance was both of us can't be up all night because I got to go to work.
Uh-huh.
So if the baby, like, you see things logically to a fault, like it's a amount of effort that you're trying to measure from steps that you take from A to B.
Yeah.
And that's not how it works as a woman, period, let alone wife, mother and whatever else may come along with that.
But man, it's funny. I laugh because, bro, I remember when she was breastfeeding my daughter, she would wake up. She told me one day, like, you don't ever get up to help with the baby. I said, what am I do? She breastfeeding. Why am I waking up just to sit there and watch you?
Yeah. I can't have nothing.
So yeah, man, that logic is, and that's been an adjustment for me too, man. Outside of my house, that logic has served me well, from career to relationships to understanding, analyzing people, what to do, what not to do. It serves me well.
I get rewarded in corporate because I bring solutions fast.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I can cut through that. Heard what you said. We have this amount of time to get to it.
Yeah.
Let's get to it.
Yeah. At home?
Oof. At home, is oftentimes it's not even about the solution.
No.
At least not in the moment.
I don't think they care about the solution. I think we'll get to the solution once I feel better about the problem.
Yeah.
Right?
Gotcha.
And this is, bro, we talking, but this is one of the problems I think we have with marriages, right? They say 1 out of 2 fail.
Yeah.
Another 15 to 20% stay together for the sake of the kids.
Yeah.
You got an institution that's unsuccessful 75% of the time, right? That's 3 out of 4 that it is not good.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that you would take them odds. If I put a gun on this table and say, hey, is 4 chambers in this gun, 3 of them got bullets and 1 don't. I'm not taking that risk, right? So we setting people into this without understanding how this thing really works.
Yeah.
You know, they say if you don't understand something purpose, abuse is inevitable. If you don't understand how something is purpose to be used, you're going to abuse it. But
even if it's not malicious.
Even if it's not malicious,
wow.
Right? So we walking into a marriage unprepared on what to expect. We think, like I said earlier, she love God, I love God. She love me, I love her.
Yeah.
She make me feel a certain way. He make me feel a certain way.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
For the wedding, yes.
Oh, to get there?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It'll get you to the game.
Yeah.
But Ray Lewis on the other side.
Oof.
You gotta have some, you gotta be ready, right? So I think, man, if we started teaching our men how to nurture and care for our wife and not talk to them trying to fix the problem, but care more about her feeling in the moment, and then y'all come together and work on the problem, I think it'll cut off a lot. Because, man, I get calls about everything.
Yeah.
Right? I'm the guy that everybody call for everything, right? I can't tell you how many times I've gotten up, bro, this is just dumb, Q. Tell me if I'm tripping, right? And like, you're not tripping, but.
Also you are.
Right?
Yeah.
So, like, I think if we prepared, when we talk about getting your money together, we talk about not having no kids before you get married, right? We talk about all of that, but I don't think we actually taught how to love our wife, right?
No.
Something I just realized, and I'd heard this before. I've heard this before, and you've heard it before too, and it just hit home within the last 6 months. It says we should love our wife like Christ loved the church.
Sure.
We'd have heard that I don't know how long. That dude neglected everything about him for the sake of his people. What he wanted, what he thought was irrelevant to make sure his bride was okay. He laid down his life for his bride.
Mm-hmm.
But we go in it thinking there's still something in it for us. And I don't think it is initially. I think our benefit comes, and I'm not saying let her run over you. That ain't what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm not saying, yes, baby. That ain't what I'm saying. I'm saying when you properly love her, when you properly care for her, when you make her feel secure, when you let her know that you care, when you affirm her, I think all the things that we want, she'll give. But we're trying to withdraw from a bank that don't have the funds in there.
Never deposit.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but we're not taught how to deposit. We're taught how to receive. I think if that was adjusted in the beginning, I think it would cut down on a lot of their frustration.
Yeah.
And if you cut down on their frustration, bro, I think happiness is just a byproduct.
Yeah, I a couple of revelations I've had in recent years. I've been married 20 years. And I've said it before, is that I fully expected me to change and mature from 25 to now.
Yeah.
Didn't really account for what her change looks like and how whatever version of me is showing up with whatever version of her is going to mesh or not, and then what? Right? So we got to those places of this version of me and this version of you is not compatible. And at some points that was the end of it. And it was, they're like roommates.
Yeah.
It's not a good situation.
Yeah.
Then as you mature, you realize, well, thank God I'm not who I was at 25 or 30 or 35.
Right.
I don't like me at that stage.
Yeah.
Understanding that and finding more grace. And another thing you said, talk to our women. If we just stop right there, talk to, not talk at.
Yeah.
I think that would change. That would reshape a lot of the conversations and give them a fighting chance.
Yeah.
Just in reading the room.
Yeah.
It's almost like we do it. We have that gift everywhere else in life. We can read danger. We can read if somebody has a malintent for us, or if something feels good outside of the house, but we abandon it for some reason, or it's just distant. Once we're in the house. Another thing that I realize is that, and as an athlete, I know you can appreciate this, is that you have to stay conditioning. So we'll have marriage counseling, which I've called before wedding approval.
Okay.
Because
that's all it is, bro.
The two have decided they're gonna do a thing.
Yep.
If they feel it in their spirit to go before a pastor or whoever to talk through why they're doing a thing, everything is going to typically lead to them ultimately doing the thing.
Yeah.
It's not really a screening process as it should be. So if you manipulate your way through that, once you get on the other side of I do, you still need help.
Yeah.
And that help doesn't come, it's not innate.
Yeah.
It's not a natural thing to develop wisdom without you going through the pitfalls. And I don't think that's what wisdom is. Wisdom is you told me something that you did. I
ain't got to go through it.
Let me get the lesson.
Yeah.
Let me get the lesson out of that. Everything else is your story to tell, not my story to retell us to have in common.
Yeah. Man, like listen to you say that. We got to let go of the logic, bro.
Yeah.
We got it.
So all we got.
I remember telling my cousin, she's like, what are you frustrated about? I said, I just can't, the stupidity, bro. Like, I got to care about the stupidity. I don't know how to care about the stupidity. And she said, what do you mean? I said, if she tells me she saw a lion driving a school bus with an alien in the back seat and she feels like she's in danger, my logic says that's not real, but you feel like it is. So you want me to entertain the feeling that makes no sense? I just can't do that, right? So she wound up having to go. Coincidentally, a friend of mine called. I was telling him the same thing. He said, you can do it. I said, I can't. Like, I cannot entertain. You want me to have intellectual conversations about a feeling that you have that makes no sense, right?
To me.
He said, you can do it. I've seen you do it. I said, you ain't seen me engage in this type. He said, I say you do it with your daughter every day. Every day. But it ain't that you can't. It's that you put a standard on her and you won't. So if you could do it with your daughter, you could do it with your wife. I was like, dang. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. So, man, that's my goal, bro. I walk in and I try to let go of logic, bro.
How has all of these experiences that we discussed shaped who you are as a father?
I think the biggest thing is my patience, my understanding. And I think, I had a cousin tell me too, he said, you'll never fully understand how much God loves you until you have a child.
Absolutely.
Because every relationship we have is conditional. Every one of them. Wife included. If I find out she down there at the Cowboys locker room, we're
locker room.
We're done.
I was about to say the Cowboy Club. I was like, man, they got some good wings in there.
Yeah.
Locker room, yeah,
we're done.
Right.
So it's conditional, right?
Yeah.
But with my daughter and my son,
baby, why'd you go in the locker room? You could have called me.
He could have called me. Ain't nothing she could do, right? So it's helped me fully understand what unconditional love really is.
Yeah.
You know? And I try to extend a variation of that to everybody.
Yeah.
You know? I don't like everybody.
No. I don't like people, fun fact. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Well,
but I try to love everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And even with like people's mistakes, I don't really hold it against them too long. Now, I might not subject myself to the stupidity and put myself in an environment where you can damage me by your ways. But man, I think about what God has done for me.
Yeah.
It's like, only difference between mine and yours is visual and mine ain't, right? So yeah, it's drastically changed just how I see things as a dad now, man.
Yeah. How old is your son?
One. He was 12 weeks early.
Oof.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a journey within itself.
We'll start wrapping up. But the tagline that I don't mention a lot, I try to do it with first time guests on the show is, dear son, ... what I wish my father told me. And I typically ask the guests what that is. And, you'll get a number of answers. Some have never considered that before or try to put words to it. But sometimes I flip it and I want to do that for you. Given your experiences, your maturity, your growth to this point, what are you focused on? What is something that your son is never going to have to wish that his father told him?
That might be the most insightful question I've been asked, bro, in a long time.
Because he's one.
He's one. He won't ever, and I don't know if this is a general answer to a direct question, but he won't ever have to question how to navigate life. He won't ever be surprised or shocked by what's happening to him. I try to be very intentional on how I raise my kids or rear my kids. I guess that's the proper term, right? You raise animals. Yeah. He won't ever feel surprised by what's coming at him. Even with my daughter, I have people with older kids, right? And they'll talk about how kids get teenager. They don't care about what you're talking about. They feel like they're smarter than you and all of that, right? When my daughter was like 6 or 7 years old, I started tearing that part down. Who do you think is smarter, baby? You, daddy. So if you and I are disagreeing, who's probably wrong? It's probably me. So how do you handle it when you think you're right, but you know I'm probably right? What do you do? She said, I got to come to you and talk it out until I can get better. So I want to be so proactive that he's prepared for whatever he faces. So I don't know if that's a
yeah. I mean, because you went into the intentionality of it. It's really a even if you don't have an answer right now, it's really a seed planting question about what does it look like from today forward to yield that whatever my answer is, whether I believe it today or not, the seed is planted. When okay, I said this and it sounded good on the show.
That's great, bro. That's a great question.
What actually does it look like? Right. My kids are today 21, 19, 17, 11, and 10. And if there's anything that I can give to you today for you to look forward to, is that you got it easy right now.
Huh. Yeah.
On your toughest day, you have it easy right now.
Yeah.
Parenting doesn't end, it only looks different. And the challenges they may be less frequent, but they're way more.
Volumes turn way up. Yeah.
Yeah. And the consequences are greater because now there's a shorter window for them to get it without the consequences tearing their life apart.
Yeah.
Because if you know it all at 6, where you gonna get a cavity?
Right.
Because you ate more candy than what we allowed. When you're 21,
cost you your life.
Oof.
Yeah.
It could cost the family.
Yeah.
When you get into those stages. So it's I joke about the gap between mine, but it's such a reference of the duality of the lives that they're living. Like full adult, new adult, coming into adulthood.
Yeah.
Then I got the 11 and 10. My 11-year-old is my youngest daughter, who sometimes presents as if she's 31.
Yeah.
But is that her fault? Because she's looking up to.
Yeah.
And then what you do with those that are older, the younger ones actually see that, and it starts to inform how far they can push the line.
Yeah.
If their line pushes, they may not be, right?
Yeah.
I have one that pushed the line, the one right behind that one didn't. So if I took the angst from the one that's pushing the line and put it on the next one, it will backfire because that's not who that child is.
You charge me up for something I'm not even doing. Yeah.
Not who that child is, man. So it's I'm learning, and I have a grandbaby now, which who authorized any of this? Husband, father. I might get myself one more, but then granddad.
Yeah.
Who authorized that? But it is teaching me so much about me. And that's why I like having these conversations. Not that I'm giving any expertise away, but I like to understand other perspectives that aren't my own.
Yeah.
Because it helps me either one, be grateful, or point out something that I didn't know to look for.
Yeah.
Then, as we present it to the world, it's a library of conversations that most men probably need at least one of them at some point in life.
For sure.
So
let me give a piece of knowledge
to
your people, bro. 3 months before my daughter was born, I was inside of a studio getting ready to do an interview. And I meet this lady. Her kids, I was in Bossier at the time. I was living in Bossier. Her kids, one was at a senior high school, the other one was a senior at LSU. I told her I'm from Baton Rouge. We kind of got to talking, right? She said, "You got kids?" I said, "I'm about to have my first one." "You scared?" I said, "No, I'm not scared. I'm terrified," right? "What are you scared of?" I said, "It's a person, man. Like, what I do is going to mold this child, right? I don't want to mess it up." She gave me some advice that changed my life. She said, "First of all, your daughter's too dumb to know you're doing it wrong.
Facts.
Just be present," right? If you're supposed to feed her at 2 and you fed her at 3:30 because you forgot, if she not screaming, she don't know, right? Just be there. She says 1. She said 2, don't look forward to anything. She said, don't look forward to her walking. Don't look forward to her talking. Don't look forward to her feeding herself. Don't look forward to her dressing herself. Be present in the moment.
Yeah.
There's going to be days you regret having a kid. You're going to be up early, crying and feeding and changing diapers, this kid hollering. Those days are going to be so long. She said, but if you don't live in the moment, those years are so short.
Very much so.
If you look forward to anything, you go wake up and you have a senior at LSU.
Blink twice.
I said, dang. So, bro, I have made a conscious effort. My girl's now, it feel like she 18. Because I feel like I've been.
Love to have this conversation in 9 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't feel like I've missed anything.
Yeah.
You know? Most parents feel like it went by. I don't feel like that. It feels like it's been a very, very long time because I have been present in the moment, you know? So that's probably the best parenting advice I've ever gotten.
Yeah.
And it's worked wonders for me, man. Yeah. So
salute my guy Reggie George, Father Figure Apparel. That's their tagline: be present, not perfect, bro.
A word.
Be present, not perfect, bro.
Hey, yeah, get that to me, man. I gotta. Yeah. That's what I live by that. So I gotta at least support him with that.
Yeah, man. Quentin, it's been this has been worth it. I hope it's been at least tolerable for you.
Man, no, it's been enjoyable, man. It's not tolerable. It feels tolerable. It's probably going a little different.
It's been shorter.
Yeah.
Because I don't like, we didn't get to know each other before this. We crossed paths, but I like to understand people in the moment.
Yeah.
That's my offering to my audience, is that let's understand this person, and they come back, we grow with them.
For sure.
So I hope you come back, man.
Man, I love to be back, man. It's
a conversation that I'm going to put out there now. Not that I was worried about anybody stealing it, but if I put it out there, it's going to hold me accountable.
Okay.
I want to have a conversation with faith leaders about the convenience of Christ. Nope.
All right.
Yeah.
No. All right. No elaboration. Okay, I got you.
No. Let that grow on you. But I think I want to do it panel style, at least 3 or 4.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's all. That one has been on my heart for about a year.
Okay.
So it's I have to do it, and we'll see how it turns out. But I'm gonna have that conversation. How can people find you if you want them to find you?
I'm on IG at Curious Mind. So it's q.rius.mind. And that's about it for me, man.
Cool. I always want to salute my wife at Love Keisha J. Her children's book, I need to keep a copy handy, but if you're watching, you see the overlay now. If you're listening, the link is below. Chocolate Princess, Volume 1, a very good read, a very well illustrated book for your young women of color, your young scholars, I would say 5 to 15. Or you can read it to your grandmother. Or your grandmother can read it to your 1-year-old.
Yeah.
But it's a very good book, man. She is actually very dope, and she is currently on a 9 to 5 that she doesn't need to be at. So that's part of my goal, Lord willing, is to bring her home and let her regain her creative space.
Amen.
My book is physical, Dear Son, 20 Life Prompts that Facilitate Effective Parenting. It is a book that will push you to think through challenges you may have seen or you may be anticipating and do some work. So if you're ready to do the work, get the book. If you're not ready to do the work, get the book, so that whenever you are ready,
you had a book.
You had a book.
Yeah.
But I thank God for what that book took me through writing it. And I know that's part of it, but the other piece of it is allowing the world to see it as they want to see it.
Yeah.
So, but that's going to do it for this episode, man. We appreciate you guys. God bless you. Peace.